for joining us, Evelyn.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Hi.
Can you tell us how, Jay knows, but I don't know, and the audience doesn't know, how did you and Jay connect?
So we connected for many years. My sister and I, we have been wanting to know who my mom's father was, my grandfather. And it's been a mystery, in my family for many, many years. My mom would even, I remember as a child was go in the phone book, sending letters, trying to find her father. And, us being her kids, we knew how difficult that was. But then also as we got older and we had kids, we wanted to also find who this person was, I wanted to know more of where I came from. We didn't know if this man was alive. We didn't have much information. And we kept asking my grandmother throughout the years to give us more information, because her story was pretty consistent throughout the years, but all she knew was, his name, where they met, and where it happened, and that's it. So, my sister, make a long story short, my sister decided to have my mom do ancestry. I also did ancestry just to kind of see if we can, get the missing pieces of the puzzle, which that also helps because that's how we started my mom's DNA started connecting her to a Santiago family. And then once my sister started digging in, we kind of got some more information as far as my grandfather and his family. But although we had all this information, we still didn't know how to find this person. And then that's how he came about. My sister ended up seeing a news report about Jay, and he helps find, it's not you, right? Is it you, Chris?
It probably is me. Surprise! Yeah.
So it was me. My sister ended up.
That was 6 years ago.
So she ended up seeing your story, which is so crazy. So she was, we were in Arizona, and she goes, I was watching, the news, and there was this guy, and he was talking about, using, birth parent finder, and talked about, I guess your experience. I didn't see it. So I said, let's try to find who this person is. And then that's how we found Jay, through your story, because she happened to catch it on the news. So we reached out to him. We gave him the information that we had. So at the time we had my grandfather's, what we thought, we kind of had his name right. We had his father's name, which is very distinctive. And we gave, this information to, Jay, and he was like, well, let me see what I could do. And one of the other things I was worried about was this happened right after Hurricane Maria. So I didn't know, first of all, I didn't know if he was alive. I didn't know if he was in Puerto Rico. I didn't know if he was in New York. We didn't know where he was. And then we ended up reaching out to Jay, and, he found him. He literally found him, and actually way quicker than I thought he was going to find him. It was like 3 days.
Right. But you actually sent one of your family members to the address that we gave you.
We did. So we sent who would that be? So it would be my grandfather's sister's son. So that would make him what to my grandfather? My grandfather's sister's grandson. What would that be to my grandfather?
We'll just say if you say so.
Okay, we're like, wait. So yeah. We got in contact with him because he has social media. We were able to find him, and we said, hey, we know this story is going to sound a little crazy, but we're looking for my grandfather, and he's related to you. So then he would happen to be in Puerto Rico. He goes to the address that Jay provided, because Jay said, listen, I was able to find the phone number. I was able to find an address, but it's in Puerto Rico. So we were like, okay, we were in Arizona at the time. I'm like, how are we going to get somebody there? So we found a family member. The family member went to the address that Jay found, and there was a guy standing outside, and the guy goes, well, he no longer lives here, but I know where he works. So it was just the craziest thing. So then he ended up going to his job and told, my grandfather, like, listen, you have family that's looking for you. And my grandfather thought that he heard that he had a child out there, but he thought my mother was a boy. So when he found out that it was a girl, and he found out that his grandkids were looking for him, he was blown away, totally blown away.
And also, he came out to visit you right away, didn't he?
Oh, I put him on a first class flight. I said, I don't care what I have to pay, because Thanksgiving this was right before Thanksgiving. And I ended up putting him on a flight, and he came, mind you, we had phone conversations with him, but it's scary because you don't know this person. He seems like a decent guy, but I don't know. So we have this man flying in, my grandfather, who I love and adore, flying in, and then my mother was supposed to be flying in soon after because it was Thanksgiving. So we got him in town, and meeting him for the first time. I never forget him walking in the door. He was smelling nice, and he was dressed, how he dresses, and he hugged us, and it was like we knew this person our whole lives. And it was such an emotional moment for us because I was literally shaking. I couldn't even believe. I was looking at him like, oh, I actually have a picture of us right here.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that guy. So this was actually his first visit, that picture. So, we had to keep this a secret because we wanted to surprise my mother, who was coming in a few days later. So yeah, we did. And I couldn't believe it. I never forget sleeping upstairs and saying to myself, I cannot believe my grandfather's sleeping downstairs, like my actual grandfather. Like, this is the craziest thing. So yeah, so that's what ended up happening.
So you videotaped your grandfather meeting your mom, and
I did.
you put it on social media, and it just went viral.
I know there's like over 1 million views on that video. So, I mean, we were trying to come up with an idea of how to tell her, like, how do we tell my mother's maybe 62 at this point, that we found her father. So he ended up giving us a photo that his mother gave him. So he was 15 when my grandmother came out pregnant. She was 3 years older. And when my grandmother came out pregnant, she went to, to his house, and his mother, being the strict woman that I hear she was, basically said, he's 15 years old. He's in high school. Go away with this. She was being protective of her son, who was in high school. So my grandmother never went back, but she left the photo. And the photo that she left was a photo of my mom standing in a crib, which she kind of does look like a boy. So that's why my grandfather thought it was a boy. And he held that photo all these years. So when he came to see us for the first time, he had that picture. And that's the picture that we ended up putting on the counter. My mom came in, and we told her we were looking at, family photos. And then she saw that photo of herself, and she was questioning how we got the photo. And then that's when my grandfather came out through a door and said they got that photo because of me. And she just like broke down.
Oh. What was the, Evelyn, what was the emotional piece of the puzzle that this provided for your mom?
Oh my gosh, it was so much closure, so many unanswered questions, obviously my mom is 62 at this point, so she doesn't know if he's alive. So just for us to find him alive was such a blessing, such a healthy, if you know him now, she's gonna kill me, but he's probably a little healthier than her. But it was such an emotional moment. And then for her to find out that she has siblings and you know what? Let me just tell you the crazier part of this story. We were living in Arizona at the time. His daughter, my mom's sister, was living 10 minutes away from my house. So
Wow.
When my aunt, my grandfather's daughter, finds out that we were looking for him and we found him, she was so excited. And then when we found out, literally she lived 10 minutes from my house. It was so freakish to see pictures of my grandfather at the zoo and at all of the same places that we would all go to, just to know that I probably walked right past him because we love the zoo. I don't know why, what is that? But it's something that we love to do. And he has so many photos at this same zoo. So when I started seeing pictures of him, it was just mind blowing to know that my aunt, who he visited every year, lived 10 minutes from me, and that he was 10 minutes away from my house at times was crazy. But my mom, I think she still has moments where she's like, I can't believe, I mean, she was cooking, she literally catered to him the entire time that he was there. It was such a beautiful moment. Yeah.
And you've seen your grandfather plenty of times since this was
Oh,
November of 2017.
Oh, listen, he is what, 81? I have to make up for lost time. So, unfortunately this year due to COVID, he was, he was afraid to travel, which is understandable. And so we missed this holiday, but yeah, he stayed with me for months, came to California. He stayed with me for 3 months. So we FaceTime. I got him an iPhone so he can FaceTime. He didn't have one. So now he has an iPhone. So I call him all the time. And, he's a cool guy. I bought him a book, the book he loves to read. So I sent him books and we talk about, it's so crazy how we're so much alike. Like we like documentaries. And so, I see, we have a lot in common. Yeah.
So has he read your books?
I don't know if he's read my books. I hope not. They could get a little risque. Or maybe he should.
So you actually have a book that came out a couple of months ago, right?
Yes. I have several books. They're romance novels. So the latest one was The Wrong Mr. Darcy. Before that was The Perfect Date. So they're they're good beach reads. So yeah, but he hasn't read mine. The one that I sent him was the book about Trump that his niece wrote about him.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Have you passed along any of the lessons you learned through your experience with Jay and birthparentfinder.com to any of your friends or family members or just in general? Like, is there, I remember when I found my birth parents or their families, that I just felt like I had so much information that I wanted to share and people were always asking me. Have you found that to be the case yourself?
I do. People reach out to me all the time because I have been very open about this. I'm very open about my life in general. So, I always say the good, bad, the ugly. I mean, I'm just such an open book, and I've been very, very open especially with this journey, finding him. So, people reach out to me all the time. So, I try to give them tips and things they could do. Of course, I give them, Jay's information and send them over there. But yeah, I mean, I know what that pain feels like and just the unknown and not knowing. I mean, for you, it was your birth parents. So I could only imagine how difficult that was. It was so hard for me, and it was my granddad. So just to be able to have found this person and he was happy to find this too, because I know that that's not always the case. Was just the perfect situation. So I tried my best to help in whichever way I can, whether it's friends, family members, or somebody. I feel like everyone has somebody missing a lot of the time. So not everyone, but it happens often.
So your story and your mother's story couldn't really have ended any better. It really couldn't.
No, it couldn't. And I mean, again, we didn't know what we were digging up. Sometimes, you could be, digging up information that you may not want to know, but, thankfully for us, he's a great man, and and a great father to his kids. And I'm just, it makes me sad that I didn't have that my whole life. I mean, he texted me today, "I love you, I miss you." We just have such a close relationship. So he's definitely filled a void in my life. I didn't grow up with my father, so he just makes me feel like I have this like father figure around, which is great. For my son to have met him is amazing. And just to be able to have that on your family tree is makes me feel so happy.
That's wonderful. That's just fantastic, and I'm happy for everyone. It's been 3 years. I can't believe it's been that long, and we've become good friends in that 3 year time, haven't we?
We have. I call you all the time, Jay.
And she's a very good investigator too, by the way.
I just I have a hidden talent. That's probably why I'm still single.
We won't get into your love life today. So
I was gonna say, I have a feeling that's by choice, Evelyn. I have
Oh
a
my
feeling
God.
that's by choice.
You know what? It is by choice. It's for sure by choice. And we'll see what happens, but I am really good at it, and I don't want to be. It just happens.
Jay, I have this guy I want you to check out for me. I got so far with him, but here's his social and here's his everything else. You run him for me, okay, Jay? Thank you. Love you.
Listen, I actually have everybody. I've talked about this on the show. I don't care. I actually have Jay and someone else, and I even have girlfriends that are like, okay, so I'm seeing this guy, but something's a little off. I'm like, call me, girl. Don't worry about it. I have you. Listen, you have to check things out these days.
So real quick, I won't get into names, but you referred me to one of your friends, and she was looking for her birth father, and I found the guy in 5 minutes, and this woman could not believe I found him, and unfortunately, that woman never reached out to her birth father.
She never did. I think, the crazy story about this. She's actually a really good friend of mine. She grew up with him until she was, 10 years old. So I think for her to really accept that he just disappeared and left and went and started his a whole life family, it was a very, 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 very difficult thing for her. Because for us, we didn't know my grandfather. He thought he had a kid. He didn't know. He tried finding out. But obviously, things were different back in the 50s. It's not like how it is now that you could just type anything in the internet. So I think for her situation's just different because she actually grew up with him the first 10 years or so of her life. And then it's like he disappeared. When you sent me the photo, Jay,
uncanny, wasn't it?
She couldn't believe it, to a point that it was like, is this him? But it is him. It's because he looks so, I guess he had a really thick mustache, and when she was younger versus now. So but yeah, she couldn't even believe it. She was so surprised.
And the guy changed his name too.
Whoa.
Yeah, how do you do this, Jay? Like, I need your
I could do it with my eyes closed. I mean, we have so many stories of cases that are so hard to solve, and I just, like I said, I just been doing this so long. It's just a knack. And
well, I know I can just say, and not because we've become friends, and I'm sure Chris can attest to this, you have been heaven sent to my family. We're so grateful. And I know you genuinely care. This is not just something that you do. Like, you genuinely want to connect people. So, I'm forever grateful. I'm always, I tell you, whatever you need, I'm here, because I mean, you really, really put closure, within my family, so
I really appreciate that. And you got to meet some of my family too.
I did.
And they just love her.
Oh, thank you.
And the feeling's mutual. So before we let you go, what have you been doing the last few months, basically?
Man, It's been some crazy time. I mean, we filmed for a little bit, so that we were able to do that for 2-3 weeks. But it's hard. We can't film an entire show with all of the protocols that we have now. A lot of the times when we film in public places, so we can't really do that. Working out has been one of my talk about the home Zoom workouts. I mean, now, but you know what? I learned that I always felt like I would need to leave the house and go work out. Now I can just do it at home and I'm okay with it. So just trying to stay COVID free, and I lost my stepfather to COVID. So, and I feel like it keeps getting closer. I found out not long ago that one of my nieces had it. So, just trying to stay out the way as much as I can, but still, I have my jewelry line. So, I'm able to, design and work on that from home. Thankfully, my domestic violence foundation, we work with victims, behind the scenes. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on now because people are stuck at home. So, a lot of the times I'm, talking to victims and just trying to help them in which way that we can. So it's just counting the days for 2020 to leave.
Well, it's only a few more,
I
and
feel
then
like
we're
a lot
good.
of us
Hopefully,
have learned. What'd you say?
I said only a few more days of this year.
Only a few more days. I do feel a lot of us have. We've learned a lot. I've spent so much time with my family, which I'm grateful for. Yeah, we'll see. What happens next year.
Anything else you want to say, Chris, to Evelyn?
No, I just want to say, Evelyn, it's a pleasure meeting you, even if it's virtual. I'm a fan of your work, but more importantly, I'm happy that you and Jay connected. And I know that feeling. Everyone's journey is different, but I'm just thankful that your journey was as successful as it is. And now you're out here giving testimony too. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate meeting you. I've heard so much about you. And obviously because of your story is how we found my grandfather. Because if you never spoke about that, and we wouldn't have been able to find Jay. So thank you for being so open and transparent with your journey. So I'm hoping that my story will help somebody as well.
Right, and you surprised Chris because he did not know that, and what a pleasant surprise that was.
Yeah, it's funny. Everything is the circle of life kind of stuff. And Evelyn, I promise you, you've already helped hundreds, thousands of people. There's people right now who are wondering. They're mulling it over. They're trying to figure out what, should I, shouldn't I? But the seed has been planted. And once that seed is planted, it's hard to get rid of it. So well done.
It's so hard. It's so hard. Well, thank you guys for everything that you're doing, and bringing families together. So I think that's amazing.
And thank you for taking your time to be with us. We're going to end our.
Oh, sorry, I was late. I was at this game. I'm like, I'm going to be there.
That's okay. We're going to end this, and thank you. This is our birthparentfinder.com video podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, Chris.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jay.